It was the year 2024. Society began to fall apart. This is my story. And as time progressed through the 5 years to 2029, all meat and gas grills had been banned. Technology of the time recycled for other uses. Looking back, where did these 8 billion people live? Asia on the left, over 3 billion. North America, 500 million. Africa, 500 million. And spread out through the world. But at the time, nobody could figure out why the Atlantic Ocean was cooling at record speed. It started to make top stories around the planet, but then the collapse of the AMOC, baffling temperatures. But at the same time, the maniacals wanted to cool the planet and block sunlight from reaching the Earth's surface when they didn't understand why the ocean was cooling so fast. It was called Stratospheric Controlled Perturbation Experiment, SCOPEX, Harvard University. People didn't even believe it after the White House itself, the White House research documents outlining solar radiation management. People couldn't even believe it with their ears, so you had to take them to places that they could see with their eyes because they refused to look up. Some of these areas would open minds. And at the same time, the overlaying of an Earth's electric field, the global electric circuit, Tesla technologies began to evolve because we needed a different way to produce electricity in these record high temperatures, as you see on the map here. The reds, 1930s, the cycle was repeating once again. By the decade, where these scorching, boiling Earth temperatures were Australia experiencing it as well. There it seemed to be centered in the 1960s and early 1900s. Then the hail started, increasing in size with the updrafts. Earth's global electric circuit being more highly charged, amplifying storms. Every time a storm front came in, minimum size was baseball size. The economy couldn't hold together, and the new gold rush started in earnest. In September, $2,535 an ounce, all-time record highs every week being broken. Central banks buying 483 tons in the first half of 2024. That exceeds the highest ever recorded from 2023. And the world was being reset. Silver, India importing more silver in 4 months than all of 2023. The world was moving to a bimetallic monetary system pegged by gold. Technology pegging the price of silver. The utilization was off the charts when the silver began to run lean. The global debt was unsustainable. 315 trillion. Up 21% in just a few years. This was the catalyst that started to rip the awareness open for most, but it was the vibrational frequency change. It was visible to all. You could not even look any direction without seeing change. Society, economy, the clouds in front of you. JP Morgan and Citigroup now forecast 2 supersized Fed cuts this year. The stock market crashed in 2000 and 2007 after the first rate cut. In 2007, gold went up over 200%, more than doubling. Silver tripling. Because gold is security in times of uncertainty. And Patriot Gold Group has an OP for Life IRA, where your IRA or 401k could be in physical gold or silver. No fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call, 888-546-7020. And now on with the video. The sheeple did begin to awaken, but by that point, it was too late. The realization of hours needed to work to buy one Bitcoin had skyrocketed to 8,000, 10,000 hours needed just a few years after the 2,000-hour mark had been eclipsed. But it was really the closure and bankruptcy of Volkswagen, mega cost-cutting, one of the most stable car companies on the planet. Since the foundations after World War II, plant closures looming, this was the black swan. The blue swan, actually, with the negative quarterly earnings. Even the simpleton kindergartner could see it was falling apart. And in tandem, Japan and the European Union started to use less energy as China eclipsed and overtook the global economy. The less energy used brought people back into serfdom. All roads leading to Rome. Repeating 1,000-year cycles once again, economy, trade, and the shrinkage, and overseen by unelected dukes, kings, and queens of the modern day. And the ultra-rich on the planet started to move the money. The Buffett indicator, historical values at all-time highs. The collapse was already begun before the awareness of most of the populace took place. June 30th in 2024, remembered in history as the highest peg on the Buffett indicator at 202%. Screaming above the 1999 totals. And it was obvious for all when the billionaires start unloading their stocks again and again and again, from Alphabet to Amazon to Nvidia, Microsoft. Billions dumped in weeks, along with Bank of America stock. Buffett selling another $981 million, nearly $1 billion of that floundering bank gone. As it was stated, looking back in time, it was so obvious to see. In the beginning, people were able to cope. They could move to discount retailers, Walmart, beating earnings, big box stores bringing in the business nobody could afford. The previously glorified Whole Foods, they moved where they could eke a subsistence and still eat every day. Sam's Club up 5.5%. People are moving over to bulk foods. Habits changed and shifted. But even with all the people saving money, cutting corners, saving as much as they could, cutting everything out of life, the delinquency rate on multifamily housing just screamed past anything in the great financial crisis. That's when the news started to talk about how to filter water in an emergency. Twigs at the bottom, gravel, sand, charcoal, sand, pebbles. News feeds filled with bringing us back to using herbs once again. Lavender repelled fleas by 89%. Dried lavender. Easy to grow if you're not in a desert climate. Knowledge of our forefathers became as valuable as gold in the reset economy. Books traded on wild remedies. People spending hours writing down a page of copied information, of knowledge, because the internet, or at least those that could afford it, was drastically shrunken, only available above our heads with the Starlink system. And this is the world of today. That's where we sit. It is so obvious that we are at the end of the old era and beginning a new one. Things are starting to really ramp up everywhere that you are looking right now. If you have a plan, you should dust that off and see how you might need to tweak it, because a few things have probably changed since you first wrote it out. I appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. This is real. This is now. This is what's happening. And when the people do wake up, it'll be too late to prepare. Everything like locusts will just descend upon anything available to get ready. So prepare now. And while you're at it, jump over to Twitter. The new Civilization Cycle podcast has launched. And just put up the Civilization Cycle podcast page, the TikTok page, Instagram, and also anywhere podcasts are hosted across the net. Come like, subscribe, and join us Thursday nights, 10 p.m. to midnight, Rumble on the Adapt 2030 channel. We'll see you there, and thank you for your support. We're going to keep bringing you this information as long as we're on air.